Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pivotal Change. This is the show specifically designed for business leaders, entrepreneurs, or those looking to have more influence and impact on the world around them. I want to welcome you to the show and invite you to take notes as we have these discussions today, because there's lots of content that you can use to implement in real world, real time, to make that pivotal change you're needing to continue your path towards success. Today, I have Talyn Rahman-Figueroa with me, the Boss Diplomat, back on the show once again. Talyn, thanks for coming back.
It's like you can't get enough of me, Ryan. Of course, I'll be happy to be back. Nice to see you again.
Well, that is true. With somebody that is as well put together and articulate and intelligent as you, I don't think anybody can get enough. So I'm looking forward to this discussion today, because we're going to jump in on some things and talk about some strategies. We're going to talk about way to shift our mind and grow, and all of the things that you really help people with, mostly through branding. But I want to start kind of on a little bit of a challenging topic. And I know that when you get in here and you're communicating with your clients, you're working, you're growing, at some point, there's going to be an objection. What are some common objections that you get from your clients when they either fully don't understand or agree with the way that their branding is going or should be? I know there's always some enlightenment that needs to happen. How do you handle objections when it comes to establishing a brand?
Yeah, so I think one of the most common objections you can get, Ryan, well, there's three common objections. The first one is mindset. If your mindset is not ready for growth, it's very hard for you to get out of that box and then break it open, because you don't see yourself in that same position that I may see you in that position. The second one, of course, is money. So there'll be a lot of financial objections. I don't have the money, I can't afford it, this is too much, all of that. But if it's important enough, of course, you're willing to invest in it and take that risk, because you know this, business is risky by nature. So why not bet on yourself and put that money there, instead of spending or wasting that money somewhere else that's really not going to benefit you. And then the third most common objective is, I'm not ready. It's the timing issue, right? I'm not ready. I have other things going on. I'm buying a house in 6 months' time, blah, blah, blah. But again, if your business is that important, and if you don't fix it right now, what makes you think that money is going to be flowing into your business if you still have the same problem and you're just delaying fixing that problem at another time? You're not doing yourself any favor whatsoever.
I really like that. And I kind of want to comment on these in a backwards order. The I'm not ready, as far as it goes, is establishing a brand, because you've mentioned to us very much that you are the brand. Your brand is being written, whether you're doing it consciously and on purpose or subconsciously without paying attention to it. And you don't want a brand that is developed under naive circumstances. You want to do it purposefully. So yeah, that I'm not ready, the clock is ticking. I think that's really important for people to hear. I appreciate you mentioning that. Money is going to be an issue for people all the time. We kind of have in our little business that says, once you have established the value and people can see and recognize the value, money is almost a non-issue if value is there. And so when people truly believe in themselves, transition from that mindset, if this is what I'm hearing you say, they get the mindset that I need to establish my brand, then they're going to see the value in themselves, bet on themselves, like you said, and you're able to work through all three of those objections, it sounds like.
Do you know what the scariest thing you can do is actually measure your time, your lifespan, how long you potentially can live for? So this is a challenge and an exercise for your audience, Ryan. 1 year equals one box. So imagine drawing 100 tiny little boxes in a grid. 1 year equals one box equals 1 year of your life. Fill that in and see how many empty boxes are left. Now, that is a really scary representation of your life on paper. And when you see that you've used up most of your life already, oh my God, that is a massive motivator for you to say, I don't have a lot of time. You have no guarantee how long you're going to live. But let's assume you live to 100. That's 100 boxes. If you're 39 years old like I am, that's half my life gone. It's really scary when you think about it like that. But that is one of the things that motivates me to make sure that when I make a decision, I don't make a decision 6 months from now. I make it tomorrow for today.
I love it. Scary good because it's motivating. You know, I did a similar exercises when I counted the Saturdays I had left before my teenage son goes off to college. Well, guess what? We get a lot more impact out of every Saturday now. So I like that. So that's kind of a little bit of a metric, which is really leading me to my next question is, so we've got over these objections. We've got somebody to understand their mindset and their value. How do you establish then clear and measurable success metrics for how your brand is going? Is it growing? Is it have practical steps that can be implemented to say, hey, let's go this far in this capacity to make sure that we're getting a return on that investment in establishing our brand?
Well, your personal brand definitely does have a compound interest. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. It's kind of like saving money in a investment or something. You put that $5, and in 30 years from now, that $5 is no longer $5 anymore. It's like 3 times as much, or I don't know maths very well, but that's the basic analogy. And that's the same principle when it comes to building your personal brand. Your personal brand never depreciates, it always appreciates. And I have people asking me, well, I bet you only work with young people because they've got a long way to go. And then the people who are 60 plus, there's no point starting a personal brand. A lot of my clients are actually 60 plus because they are about to retire. They don't know what to do with themselves. And they know that they've got a ton of wealth, health, and experience to build something for the next 30 years of their life. Personal branding makes complete sense for them. For the younger crowd, they're a little bit behind.
Yeah, I like that. I think it makes sense for everybody after having these conversations with you, seeing a lot more of what it is you actually do. Why would you not establish your brand at 15 or at 35 or at 65? It still brings value to your life and more wealth and health and freedom for you. So I think that's absolutely beautiful. So let's continue down the path of mindset, because you just talked about the mindset of the 30-year-old versus the 60-year-old. If I want to say, hey, I'm working with you, Talyn, and I don't fully get the picture. I know I need a brand. I know it's going to help me in some way, but I have these mental blocks that is maybe causing me to vocalize those 3 objections to you. Could you give me any type of exercises, any type of actionable steps to say, this is how you need to think and feel and talk and walk about yourself in order to get your mindset right and then get your brand growing and prospering?
You know, the funny thing is, I just worked with someone this morning with that very same problem where there was a mindset issue, and this individual kept thinking about his situation right now, where he's working, how old he is right now, what he just accomplished for himself. And it was very hard for him to think outside of that, beyond that. Now, when I told him, hey, what would happen if that employer let you go tomorrow? Or what would happen if you decided that you didn't want to be in this city anymore, you wanted to move? Your connections with this community, so to speak, will be completely gone. And you will have nothing left because you're depending your experience and your life around other people. And then I gave him an exercise. I said, look, you're stuck in this tiny little box. I want you to break out of it. Just claw yourself out. And do you know what he did, Ryan? He's like, okay, I'm going to visual myself in a box. And he felt himself clawing out, but his clawing was like, it was so hard for, even figuratively, to get himself outside of that box, because he knew that I kind of hit a nerve when I told him that thing.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think you hitting a nerve is what a lot of people need. A lot of people, for some reason, can't find it in themselves to really make that final push to get that mindset over. So the fact that you were able to have somebody create a visual, rely on a metaphor of how they view themselves, and then react with that that they need to write down a way to find a metaphor that they can refer to themselves to, and then challenge themselves inside of that metaphor, whether it's a box or something else.
Ryan,
I like that.
I have one more thing.
No, go fire away. Yes.
The other thing that I tell a lot of business owners is, how is your messaging? Is your messaging soft, fluffy, very corporate? or are you making them feel the pain? And my analogy is, okay, imagine there's a scab right there, put your finger in it, just like, or put some salt on that wound. We want your audience to feel that pain so deeply. That's how they know that they need you to fix that problem. Salt in the wound.
Yeah.
Or elbow in the wound, whatever works.
That's something I love that you're not solving someone's inconvenience per se. I mean, there is a value to having a convenient life and a convenient product, but you want to solve somebody's pain point, not their mild inconvenience, right?
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate you saying, hey, they need to make sure that they are recognizing their pain. You might have to put your finger on it because the doctor says, hey, does that hurt? And you go, oh, yeah, it does. Well, now I can treat that injury.
Yeah.
Same thing. You have a pain point. I'm the person to treat your injury through my brand, my market, and my services. So that's really beautiful. So what I want to do is I want to transition here in just a moment. We're going to pause for a break here in just a second. But if you have somebody that is not staying true to their core brand, maybe it's because there are market trends or there are changes to their industry. What is one thing you would tell them to say, yes, it's time to be flexible, or no, it's time to double down on who exactly you are and what you offer?
Oh, this is a good question, because I used to do the same thing with the politicians and diplomats that I used to work with.
Right.
Because again, they've got everything. They've got the status, the money, the prestige, the title, and then they forget, why am I doing here? There's a lot of distractions that's going to get in the way, that will filter you, color you, will give you a different perspective. And my job is to say, I'm going to pull you back. Remember why you started. Tell me that story again. And it kind of brings and triggers a lot of memories for them. And then they realize, right, this is the reason why I started. And they forget that. So it's just a matter of taking a step back, me getting my elbow in and hitting them a little bit, making them feel the pain. And that reminds them, I forgot I had a purpose. I need to refocus back onto that purpose.
I love that. So remind them, say, hey, tell me your story again. Tell me the why. Tell it back to yourself all over again and bring you back to your center. And that will provide you the answer of yes, this is a good pivot, or no, this is a time that we need to stand firm. I love it. We're going to take a quick break right here. We're going to come back with more of this wonderful conversation. Everybody sit tight, review your notes, and we'll be right back after these commercials on some more pivotal change.